Let's go!
The courage to compete, the ambition to create a team, the confidence to carve your own path.
Das kennen wir schon. Rein.
To push innovation and confront deeper challenges. Orchestrate your ascent. Steer mindsets. Design your own journey. Create a team. Create a legacy.
Genau, das kennen wir schon. So, jetzt rein in den Bums.
Okay, so on last month's Unlocked, we talked about the Creator Team feature coming to F1 Manager 24 later this year. A feature that allows players to create the 11th team on the grid, complete with your own custom liveries. However, on this month's Unlocked, we're going to be talking about some of the new management features and evolutions coming to the game later this year. And for that, I need some reinforcements. So welcome back, Stu. And welcome, Matt. So for those people that don't know, didn't watch last month, shame on you. Stu, do you want to introduce yourself and what you do? And then Matt, can you do the same?
Yep. Hey, thanks for having me back. I'm Stu, executive producer for F1 Manager 2024. My role is to steer our wonderful team towards the right priorities and deadlines to get the game out.
I'm Matt. I'm the art director on the project. So it's my job to look after the art, all the lovely artists, and shepherd them towards victory, and also make the game look nice and shiny.
Well, I think we're going to see some of this in a moment. I think we can all agree the game looks very, very shiny. In fact, we should probably start with some of that sort of stuff. So let's talk about some of the on-track stuff and some of the things you're going to see straight away with the tracks themselves. Matt, maybe you want to talk through some of the changes we're seeing?
Yeah, so it's super exciting. The art team's really kind of lifted the bar on the quality that we're achieving this year. So we're looking at some lovely pictures here. Hopefully people at home can see this. So we've got some really nice detail that we've added, things like the racing line. So I think in the sort of previous versions of the game, the tracks didn't quite have the life that comes from the sort of evolution over the weekend. So now we've got that in. We've got nice little details like the marbling at the side of the track. The way the grass interacts with the track is much more natural as well. You can sort of see like paths and things that you're seeing.
Für einen Manager aber wirklich nice. Ich meine, andere Dinge sind wichtiger, aber
the satellite photography that we've used to build the circuit, so it's another great way that we're able to sort of use that to bring these tracks to life. You can see sort
für
of
einen Manager ist das extrem
the
krass.
paddock areas. They've got a lot more color in this year.
Hui.
So we're using a technique called splat mapping to do a lot of this.
Now, you mentioned this before. Now, please explain to me splat mapping, because it's my favourite term I think I've heard in my entire time at Frontier Towers. Splat mapping is my favourite thing. What is it?
It's a bit like running wild with a paintball gun. So rather than having a single image that's applied to the surface, we literally, you go around and you splat on these additional bits of detail. So they can be very small patches of details, and they layer up and create this very organic and natural looking surface that sort of replicates what you see in the real world. And that's kind of delivering a lot of these sort of big visual shifts that we're seeing here.
Yeah. And I think it's, I think it will bleed through, and everything we see with F1 Manager 24 is the detail that is going into this game. And I think it looks fantastic. It's not taking anything away from last year's game, because it did look great. This is an evolution of just what we've been trying to achieve, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the art team is always kind of hungry to build on its success. So every time we do something, it's great, but we want to do more and more and more and more. So this is this year's evolution.
Nice. Well, it looks very shiny, and we haven't even seen it in motion yet. But we'll get to it, chat. We'll get to it. Don't worry about that. But it's not just tracks. I believe we've got some new faces coming into the game.
Yeah.
Yes. So we've added to our little driver roster. So here we're looking at Teo Poaching. So for fans of the series, Teo is one of the most signed drivers in previous versions of the game. So here he is, joining our little driver rostrum. So you can enjoy putting him on the podium, hopefully, signing him to your winning team. And the other driver that we're looking at here is Liam Lawson. So Liam obviously got some action last year in F1.
Ne?
So we think it's appropriate to
Mein klar ist jetzt nicht, wer weiß wie wichtig, gar keine Frage, andere Sachen sind wichtiger. Aber trotzdem, das ist ja seine Aufgabe da, ne? Die alle da ein bisschen
I think it's bringing the whole
realistischer abzubilden.
I think is a wonderful job that the whole of the art team is doing here. So love to all of the boys and girls doing that sort of stuff. So well done. But there's still more to talk about. There's another sort of, that was kind of an exclusive, because we've just talked about two new drivers. we talk about pit lanes and what happens with pit lanes. Is this another little mini exclusive you give us here? That pit lanes changing?
I think we've got a little exclusive. We can.
Yeah, we're on an exclusive roll today. We'll have to keep track of them. There should be a little counter in the bottom corner. So pit lane reordering.
Yes.
So this is kind of a biggie that everyone in the team loves, and we often see it as a thing that the community talks about. So obviously, as you play through the game and you hopefully move up the championship order, your pit garage on each track kind of moves up, and this kind of replicates another sort of real life kind of feature of F1 that effectively the guys at the top, the best team, gets the best garage in terms of the pit order on the track, and there are some strategic benefits to that.
Yeah.
So that's something that we're kind of happy to say that we've put in the game this year as well.
So there's another little dash of authenticity just sprinkled on top. So,
also als Weltmeister kriegst du die erste Box.
It really, all of this feeds into that authentic.
Kleines Feature?
Yes, it's
aber cooles Feature.
I'm sure
das ist so die Sahne auf der Torte, Chat. Das ist geil.
But one feature that isn't so little is we're going to talk about some of I guess it's a very key feature, which is the mentality system, which is a brand new system that's coming in for Formula One Manager 24 this year.
Brand new.
Can you speak a little bit about what the mentality system is, because it does have quite a lot of effects within the game?
It does, yeah. So one of our key pillars this year is deeper team management, and the mentality system
Deeper team management
really speaks to that. It brings personality to all the people in the game. It adds stories and drama, and a whole new layer really of management for our players to engage with.
Yeah, and it's I guess the question, why have we added this? is the question. What have we done? I guess it's to give players that challenge, right?
Yes, exactly that. So it is. We had a morale system in our previous game, which was quite light in its effects on the gameplay. And the mentality system really, replaces that morale system, brings a whole new level of depth. The drivers and staff in the game, they'll have kind of 3 key areas that feeds into their mentality. So they'll be reflecting on their performance, their team's performance, and your performance as a team principal. And there are, variety of factors that feeds into each of those 3 key areas.
Okay, das Menü sieht schon mal gleich aus. Das ist schon mal beruhigend.
Screen here. Each of those factors is affecting their mentality.
Das Mentalitätsding geht ja so richtig mit Smileys wie in der Schule. Bitte bewerten Sie uns. Geil. Finde ich gut.
It's going to impact their,
Finde ich gut.
Their lap times. It's going to impact how they feel outside of a race as well. So if they are feeling
hallo
down,
YouTube, ich habe gerade einen Raid gekriegt.
Wir gehen jetzt ab. They might be more susceptible to being poached by another team.
So they can be poached from other teams.
Yes, that's right.
Right.
So it's really important, to take this whole new layer of management on board and consider it as you play, because there'll be impacts in all the decisions you make will feed into.
But this is all, you said staff as well, right? So it's not just about, it's easy to get fixated, I guess, on the driver aspect of it, of course.
YouTube Amalo übrigens streamt auch auf Twitch. Man mag Gulaschsuppe, unbedingt reinfolgen.
Because that's what I was leading into, chat. But you could have people that are designing parts for your cars at low morale. And then,
es gibt gerade neue Features im F1
drivers and
Manager.
staff, so your entire team.
Die erklären das Mentalitätsding.
And you'll be able to see all of this in the new mentality hub as well, so you get a snapshot of what's going on within your entire team. If your staff are feeling positive or negative, that will be reflected in their performance as well. So as you say, designing car parts, building car parts will be impacted by their mentality.
Aber das soll alles ein bisschen deeper werden.
The staff's opinion of their drivers.
Und wenn du zum Beispiel Weltmeister bist, dann kriegst du die erste Box, die erste Garage. Das sind Kleinigkeiten, aber
I think what I really enjoy seeing from a slightly artistic perspective,
und das Hauptmenü bleibt schon mal gleich. Das heißt, wir müssen uns nicht umgewöhnen. Das ist auch
instead of the photos that's there, and you start to see these sort of stories emerge within your team of how your team is doing and how you as a kind of team principal are affecting them, and you start to see a little bit of the personalities that you maybe see in the real world come out. So
yeah, definitely.
Although we've got these sort of individual attributes,
wenn die noch gleich ein Release-Datum sagen, ne? Dann
So you can see a situation almost like you would in the real world, that you have two drivers in the team, let's say Max and Checo, for example, and they care about different things. So Max is very used to winning. When he's not in a winning situation, he gets demoralized quite quickly, whereas someone like Perez might be happier with that. He's got less wins. He's not used to being at the front. If he's not at the front every week, he's not so bothered. And you start to see these sort of almost like little rivalries emerge. You know, on those weekends where maybe Perez does better, Max's mentality is going down.
Letzte Boxengasse hast, Weise, dann musst du die anderen ja vorlassen, wenn die wegen unsafe release.
You're no longer kind of
hast du die erste, kannst du ja quasi
necessarily staff with the best ratings. You're trying to look at how people work together. You're trying to make sure that your lead driver, if you choose to have one, it maybe gets the focus. Maybe they can't handle if you give your number 2 driver better parts.
Yeah.
You see these little stories emerge.
Oh, das ist gleich.
So it's really fantastic to see. It adds so much depth this year. So it's almost one of my favorite features.
Okay, aber wenn du ihm anders Kohle gibst,
to the fore, like this is fundamentally team management.
Dann wirkt sich das auf jeden Fall auch darauf aus. Okay.
Like I said now about it does, storylines will emerge that you see and relate to from real life, and you're going to get a different experience in each game you start as well. Each save game you play, you might play with the same team, but there's so many butterfly effect moments that you're going to have a different experience and see different storylines emerge.
Aber das Hauptmenü ist gleich, das ist schon mal gut.
That you otherwise might not have.
I think you called it there. I mean, you said it. It's that you're a team principal, and it's bringing that team element again to the forefront about how you manage those personalities, their wants, their needs, and how pleasing one person may upset somebody else, and you have to balance that out. It's tough. Real life is tough, chat. But one thing that I did notice as we were going through this video, you were talking about sort of progressing on throughout the season. Did I just watch us sim a race?
We did.
Did I see that? Or am I just being silly?
We did simulate a race. That's another one of our new features for this year. So
another tick.
Another tick. 3 minute exclusives for unlock. Yes.
We're really looking to offer a different approach to play here, a new way to play the game. People really want to get far into the future and experience, an alternative reality. So, giving people the ability to simulate races enables that. It enables you to get deep into the game, see how your decisions are unfolding further into the future.
Yeah, I mean, the last time I sort of had a little mini playthrough while we were developing it, I prefer picking the teams at the back and that kind of challenge of building them up, and it makes it so much more kind of enjoyable. I can really focus on like building my team and putting my stamp on the team and how I want to develop it. And then, in season 2 and season 3, then you can sit there and you can sort of, enjoy all that lovely race management that we've got there, and you can really capitalize on how you've developed the team and you can take them forward. It feels, I'm in control a lot more.
Yeah, I think. I mean,
so ein bisschen so, als wenn man mehrere Season am Stück noch lieber zockt.
This is going to be. I'm sure that
nicht nach einer Stunde alles erreicht hat.
We can't. Obviously, if you haven't worked it out, this is a pre-record. But I'm sure at this moment in time, knowing that you can sim races has been a big win. So great to see that snuck in there. And thank you, Adam, producer Adam, for sneaking into the footage. So that's another little treat. But going back to mentality, just to now we've sort of teased you something else there. We touched on really, really briefly, but I think we have some screens to show as well. Mentality is important because if driver's mentality or staff mentality drops, there's an option they could get poached. So we have some poaching screens to show. So there's going to be some poaching going on, right?
That's right, yeah. So in F1 Manager 2024, your drivers and staff are susceptible to AI poaching. And if, as you'd expect in real life, if someone's
sogar weniger, statt 2 Jahren nur noch ein Jahr.
Their team, someone's not feeling good about their team principal, they're going to be more likely to listen to those offers and
whispering in their
ear. Wurde von Ferrari kontaktiert und deswegen ist er weg. Das ist ja krass, so dieses Abwerben, was sie halt schon erklärt haben. Das ist geil. Kriegst du eine E-Mail? Ja, ich bin übrigens ab nächste Saison weg.
AI poaching combined with mentality just adds to that new layer of
Scheiße.
It was really interesting to see the sort of the Lewis Mercedes Ferrari situation kind of evolve. We were already talking about this and planning this feature and building it, and you can see it in real life.
It's that meme. It's that meme that you're just pointing at the screen going, this is what we're doing. We're doing this.
You can imagine perhaps, perhaps his mentality was, not positive and so.
In real life ist es ja wirklich passiert und jetzt machen sie es halt im Spiel auch so. Ne? Das ist schon geil.
You can see his race results, right?
Nicht so, dass man sagt, es ist ultra krasses Feature, aber ein geiles
He's
Feature.
got an amazing driver rating. Why is he not performing? He's not a worse driver. It's his mentality.
Yeah, right.
And adding that to the game adds so much more flavour in terms of how your drivers and your staff kind of evolve and how you play through it, and the mechanics that you've really got to leverage to get those right results. There are so many more ways to play the game this year. So it's super exciting when we see this stuff in real life, and we're kind of delivering that sort of real authentic F1 experience.
Yeah, I think it's the story. You've said it earlier on, Shia. It's the stories that are going to unfold between just if you've created the team, your story of your team, but then the drivers within that and their history, what you're going to, or the legacy you're going to create, the drama that might unfold between internally, externally. It's going to be fantastic to watch players do this, and then allowing players to sim races. They can really take that sort of way into the future to see how their legacy actually will lay out. So it's really exciting. There's a lot there we've just spoken about. We talked about the new mentality system. We talked about
für die Mitarbeiter geht das auch.
The wide aspects of
Cam Footage,
within F1.
Also es ist nicht nur für die Fahrer, sondern für Renningenieure und sowas zählt das auch,
ja. Changes on the track,
mit dem Abwärmen.
Visual changes that we're going to be seeing, some new driver faces exclusive. We had 3 exclusives, I think. We're counting correctly. I think it was 3 mini exclusives.
We'll have to try 4 next time.
Try for 4 next time, because there will be a next time. There's more to talk about. Because obviously we talked about all these things, but it's not to say that it will add to the challenge of the game. But obviously the difficulty settings will remain from I think the previous iterations of the game. Plus obviously you're all behind the scenes doing your AI tweaks to make the game a little bit more challenging for players. I've had a great time as always talking to both of you, and again I just want to say thanks again for spending your breakfast. It was lunchtime last time, it's breakfast this time. Will you come back for another show? Because we've got a lot more to talk about. We haven't covered anything near all of it yet.
There's lots more to come, so we're glad to come back, glad to bring some of the team back as well and talk more.
All right, Matt, thank you. It's our first time, I think.
It's the first time we've done one of these, yeah.
Yeah, so great to have you on. Will you come back?
I will. It was so good. I will be back. But yeah, no, it's lovely to talk about the team's work. People have done a fantastic job this year. It's really kind of...
Das war doch noch nicht alles. Hallo, Datum bitte.
Yeah, no, people are very, very excited, as well they should be. All right, thank you very much. Back to me in the studio. That's weird, isn't it? I'm never going to keep saying that. But back to me. All right, so there you go. That was a wonderful Matt and Shu talking about F1 Manager 24, the mentality system, and much more. Obviously, the astute of you, in fact, everyone would have realised that was pre-recorded, so it is a bit weird throwing back to me in the studio. However, it looks fantastic. So thanks again to both of those wonderful human beings for joining me for an interview about another cool feature coming later this year. And it is available to wishlist right now. So if you're interested in F1 Manager 24, you can wishlist it right now. Okay. Before we move on to Elite, just before, we have closed out the competition. So the lucky winner is, use my old man eyes to read,
YouTube.
It is the _Silverwolf_gaming. So have a check in your DMs for a DM from us. So congratulations, well done for winning all of the